Well, music's biggest night is always full of surprises.
Sure is. And here to break down the Grammys winners and losers and other highlights of the evening is pop culture critic Chaz Kangas. Hi, Chaz. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Okay, you know the routine. Do you have a freestyle about the Grammys for us? Let's kick it.
Do I ever?
Do it.
Last night, the Grammys had people unstable, arguing over a little gold turntable. Quite frankly, there was a lot of controversy, but the best Grammys are the ones that show no mercy.
Oh, Chaz in the house!
Go Chaz! All right.
Thank you.
That was nice. Impressive.
Now we're in the mood.
You deserve a Grammy for that one.
Yeah. No, I was really hoping to get the Grammy for most polite rapper, but I think I lost it to Drake.
Oh,
okay.
I love a good Drake diss. Look at you,
That's
Chaz.
not a diss. I'm complimenting. I can appreciate politeness.
Subtle shade. We like that. Okay. Well, let's talk about Daft
I'm out
Punk.
sunshine.
Yeah.
Chaz, I can't get enough of you. Let's talk about Daft Punk, though. They won big last night, 4 awards, including Best Album of the Year. Taylor Swift seemed surprised. Were you surprised?
For Daft Punk, honestly, no. Like, that record was so huge this summer, and when you look at the different of who's nominated and the somewhat polarizing how some of those records and people were, everyone agreed this year on how great Daft Punk were.
And they really got the crowd going. Everyone from Sir Paul McCartney to Yoko Ono was dancing during their performance.
Oh yeah, I was actually at the New York official Grammys party at the
without
recording
us.
industry.
Thank you, Chaz.
Hey, somehow I got invited.
That's
so.
not right. That's not right.
And yeah, and it was a great night. And when they performed, just everyone in suits regardless, you can't help but not move. They're so
even there,
infectious.
everybody was dancing, watching on TV dancing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, don't you wish they'd said something during their acceptance speech? Something. Like,
honestly,
merci beaucoup. Something. They're French. Anything?
I'm totally fine with them still having that aura of mystery about them. Because, in this post-Facebook, post-Twitter, post-Tumblr, Instagram world, the fact that we have legitimate giant music pop stars who don't say a word, who still have that aura of mystery around them. We don't know what they look like. We don't know what they sound like. We know they dress like incredible robots, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, they even have wardrobe changes last night.
Yes, they did.
Now, do you think Pharrell and everybody who works with them knows what they look like? They're in the studio, they just kick the mask back and chill?
I think so. I think they're signed to secrecy of blood oath, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Non-disclosure agreements. Yes. Okay.
All right, so now on to Lorde.
Yes.
Now, Lorde was a big winner of the night. She's only 17. I mean, this was great for her because she won Song of the Year and Best Pop Solo Performance for her anti-bling hit Royals. Now, why was she snubbed for Best New Artist category?
I think it was because when the awards were being nominated, she only had the one song out.
Okay.
And typically the Grammy doesn't want to put the Best New Artist into someone who only has the one song and isn't really as established yet. But I think as a result, the voters really wanted to show what an incredible song this was, what a huge impact it had. And so, she did all right last night. She walked away with 2 Grammys and a performance that makes, everyone just immediately stop and, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a track medal when I was 17. Didn't have 2 Grammys.
Well, that's okay.
It's
That's
okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Shane.
Okay. Well, she didn't win Best New Artist, but Macklemore and Ryan Lewis did. And they also did good in the rap category. They went home for the Best Rap Song and Best Rap Performance and Best Rap Album, and this was huge. Many of the pop and hip-hop enthusiasts were a little upset about this. Now, why were people so upset that they did win overall in the rap categories, and did race play a factor?
Honestly, I don't think race played a factor. With how popular...
Chaz, come on.
Come on.
Honestly, look,
Honestly.
I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan.
Yes.
I think that album is, without a doubt, the best rap album so far this decade, and it's also the second best, third best. Nothing is even coming close to touching it.
A lot of
Okay.
people
It's a
say Kendrick
fantastic
Lamar
record.
was robbed, and even Macklemore was like, "You were robbed."
Right, he truly was. But in terms of the Macklemore record, though, with how huge Thrift Shop was, as a song that crossed over, and to be fair, Macklemore is someone who, not unlike Kendrick, has also paid his dues. He came up from the underground doing so much himself.
That's true.
And with how infectious that record was, any rapper could have been over the beat from Thrift Shop and just really caught on. And with the Grammys, people tend to vote for what names they recognize if someone isn't really following hip hop, because as big as the Kendrick record was and how much hip hop fans love it, it wasn't quite the, you can't really throw on swimming pools at a wedding.
No,
dance to
no.
it.
And it didn't have
So.
the same crossover success. It's more of a rapper's rap album.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, what happened, it was a B+ album beat an A+ album. The Grammys have made worse hip hop decisions in the past.
Okay.
So, I remember being incredibly upset when Ludacris's Release Therapy beat T.I.'s King a few years back.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
So,
right.
and such an incredible record, but as it is right now, there could have been so many worse decisions they could have made.
Okay.
So, and I think it really just came down to name recognition, Macklemore being more popular in that regard, but I'm sure time will show.
So you would say to Macklemore, you weren't you didn't rob Kendrick Lamar Macklemore? Because that's what he put in his text.
Well, I think it's absolutely a robbery.
Was he, he was just being humble, maybe? Was that the situation?
Well, he's in a hard position because he knows in his heart of hearts his record isn't better than Good Kid, Mad City. I think anyone who actually heard Good Kid, Mad City knows Macklemore's record isn't better than Good Kid, Mad City. And it's a good record, too. It's just, against an absolute masterpiece of the modern era.
No, I know.
Well, a lot of people are saying it's so huge because Macklemore was also able to do all this on an independent label. He didn't have the big name behind him to do all this and get such success.
Yep, and at the party I was at last night, with all the industry
Stop
people
name
there,
dropping.
when Macklemore mentioned, though, the part where he said, and we did this all independently without a label, a chill just filled the room.
Really? Okay, because if you're cutting out the middleman, Macklemore, Beyonce, and Jay-Z did it last year with his Samsung deal. If you're cutting out the record label, that's a very scary proposition.
Yep, times are changing.
Times are changing. And speaking of times are changing, Macklemore had Madonna on stage with them yesterday. She sang a remix, a gospel-tinged remix of Open Your Heart to Me during their performance. What'd you make of that?
I think just having Madonna on stage with Macklemore, who 2 years ago was performing at like small independent clubs doing his independent hip hop thing, really shows how much he arrived. And Madonna's really one of the last gigantic music superstars from the era of the Michael Jackson, the Prince, when music was such a huge, gigantic part of pop culture. That to have her on stage with that, and then also Queen Latifah marrying people. Just, all in all, just a really memorable performance.
One of the highlights of the evening.
Absolutely.
What made that work, though? Because that had the potential to be sort of an over-the-top, shameless publicity stunt, but it was on this side of the line of being a good performance.
I think it was just people loved that music, and I think it was the fact that it was like a real wedding. It wasn't like the staged couple sort of thing where we're getting married for television.
Yeah, it was real, but very quick.
Yeah.
Do you? Okay. You're good.
Okay. Imagine Dragons and Kendrick Lamar. This was the highlight of the evening for me. Who knew those two would mash up so perfectly? And it was just a stellar show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think a big part of that is just they came up at the same time. They have such respect for each other's works, and they just knew how to play to their strengths and and hide whatever weaknesses the other may have. They just did a great performance, and usually those mashup sort of things are feast or famine, but that was just spellbinding.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the Lifetime Achievement Awards, because the Isley Brothers won a Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Grammy electronic group Kraftwerk, they also won one. Why was this a highlight for you?
Well, the Isley Brothers, I just love hearing people mention the Isley Brothers because I get Isley Brothers songs in my head, and so any more recognition they can get is fantastic. Kraftwerk, though, with electronic music being so big over the past 2 years, they really were the forefathers of a lot of that, absolute big pioneers, because they combined the sounds and the innovations of electronic music with genuine great songwriting. So to see them get their due was really, really nice.
They were the pioneers.
Okay, now what did you think of Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr's performance? Reuniting back again on stage?
Yeah, you can't see those two together and not smile, and they were coming up on the 50th anniversary of Beatlemania hitting, and just, and it's always good to see them. Let me be the first to say the Beatles are a great band.
Oh, really? Newsflash.
I don't think that was driven home last night, that the Beatles have had an influence on popular music.
Just a small influence. Let's talk about Sir Paul McCartney on stage with members of Nirvana. Sir Paul, Dave Grohl. Come on, tell me.
It's just, the past, if you look at the two of the most influential, the absolute most influential groups in all of rock music, even beyond that music in terms of, from aesthetic to song structure to sound, just such innovation. You have the past 50 years of rock music on stage at once, getting a Grammy for a collaboration together. It really is something for the record books.
That was a major moment, wasn't it? Yeah, okay.
Taylor Swift and all this hair toss and shimmy. She was on camera. She was like, was she trying to channel her inner rocker, or what was going on with that?
I think she's just having a blast and doing whatever she can, and God bless her for it. I like seeing her dance in the audience, doing the getting down to everyone performing there.
Look at that.
She looks like she was. An exorcism was being performed on her.
Who doesn't love a good exorcism? So.
Why not?
Well, lastly, Beyonce and Jay-Z. I thought their performance was hot, but some people said it left them cold. What did you think?
I think because it was such a minimalist performance. I mean, you have Beyonce on a chair to kick off the Grammys, a very star-studded lineup. I think people weren't ready that was the first thing they were going to see that night. I personally really enjoyed it, and then Jay came out, and it was really wonderful, and she looked fantastic.
I mean, let's be real. She could have sat there and did nothing, and I still would have been that happy. I would have been like, go ahead, Beyonce. What was your best performance, would you say, of the night?
That's a really tough one to call. I mean, from just the sheer spectacle of it, I really enjoyed the Daft Punk and the Pharrell performance, and Pharrell dressed like a Mountie. You know, who doesn't love that?
Oh, we're going to get to that hat in the next segment with Philip Block, because that Vivienne Westwood number was a problem for me, of course.
Yes,
But, all right, my favorite was Kendrick Lamar and Imagine Dragons. What was your favorite?
I definitely would have to say Daft Punk when they were on stage with Stevie Wonder and Nile Rodgers and Pharrell. I mean, it was just great to see legends combine like that on stage, and so I love that.
Yeah, I think Grammys was such a good reminder that music is for everybody and can bring it together, and just, you know, it's a reminder that music's pretty great.
Yeah, and with 20 performances and 12 collaborations, that was a big part of the show last night.
All right. Well, Chaz, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again soon, right?
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, and you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.